Hey there. I'm using Netflix. Netflix is a visionary when it comes to media, whether it's a movie, series, sitcom, or even a documentary that you're watching. We are all in love with that platform that has our own list, remembers what we watch and where we stopped, even lets us skip the intro and credits. However, here's a few things that none of us like. First of all, content control. One of the main benefits of using Netflix is freedom of choice, choosing what to watch and when. This main benefit is advertised more than it's actually available. Netflix is globally available, yet the content itself is not global. It depends on where you are. If you're using Netflix, you may have already come across this. If you use it from Canada, the content is different than your neighbor, the United States. If you're using it from Australia, the content is different than if you're logged in from the Middle East, and so on. Now, the latest in headlines relate this to content owners wanting to sell their copyrights in different places through various platforms, whether it's streaming services or cable. And that's a load of shit. Because this is happening with Netflix originals. Yes, the shows that they own and distribute are being restricted depending on your location, which indicates this is not a problem they're facing from the so-called bad people with fat pockets and copyrights. No, this is their internal policy for some reason. For unannounced reasons, they're controlling your selection of what to watch, which is really not okay, seeing as how we are all paying the same amount of money. We are looking to have the same wide selection of content. If we use a streaming service, we have abandoned cable and national TV to get away from the ads and controlled content. And meanwhile, we have gotten rid of the ads. However, we still have the controlled content. We're still allowed to watch a specific selection, wide as it may be. And this is not because they don't have the rights or the ability, it's simply because they're controlling the content for unannounced reasons. You may be wondering right now why I'm rambling about this and why this is an issue. And honestly, it's not. Until, of course, you want to watch a show that Netflix has and, oh, it's not available. Then you'll be asking the same question. Second issue would be force feeding. You ever wonder why Friends and How I Met Your Mother are suddenly merging into mainstream media yet again in 2016 up until now? Look no further than your Netflix homepage. I know, the shows are great, they're funny, I'm a huge fan of both. But there has been a lot more sitcoms from then until now. I mean, think about it. Shows with great cast and great humor, yet not as widely spread as Friends and How I Met Your Mother. Take for example, Scrubs, 30 Rock, and many others. Netflix is pushing specific shows to your screen. Now, I've tried everything. There were weekends where I only watched serial killers and dramas. And still, these two options were on my homepage. Netflix force feeds a specific show always there for you to click and start binging. Shows that get you attached emotionally, which is brilliant considering we are some of the loneliest generations to have ever lived. Yet, still, aren't we allowed some variety in the shows we cling to instead of making friends? I mean, come on. How about some It's Sunny in Philadelphia or Everybody Loves Raymond? Follow through. Now, this is a complicated one. You remember that show you binged a few months ago? Yeah, that one you started watching and ended on a cliff? Where is it now? There are so many shows being made and so many we're watching that it's hard to keep track for us. The even bigger issue is Netflix is having trouble keeping track. They're keeping track of the huge hits, blockbusters, but everything in between, it's being left out. or delayed a massive amount of time. The problem comes from Netflix being quantity driven, which does not require follow through. Because whether a show has 1 or 5 seasons, it's still one more option for you to watch. It's still an addition to the genre itself. And what's the problem? The problem is we're binging. We're getting emotionally attached to characters and plots, which is an investment of money for the service itself and the time to watch the show. This investment should have the return of getting the whole story and maybe even the closure at some point to the arc. In a lot of Netflix shows, we're not getting that. Netflix has too much going on that not each show gets to reach its true potential, which is the main issue. 4 would be bad deals. Now, Netflix controlled the streaming scene up until the end of 2017. Now, it's a different scene. We have Disney+, HBO Go, Hulu, and the toughest contender, in my opinion, Amazon Prime. Not because it has a wide selection, honestly it doesn't, but it has its own originals and they're kick-ass. Like Jack Ryan, The Boys, Fleabag. They're all originals and they're all amazing. Not to mention also as well Apple TV, which has a staggering amount of box office. Not to mention it has an in of about 1.4 billion devices it's pre-installed on. Now the way I'm going on, it sounds like I'm favoring monopoly, which honestly, in this case, I'm not in favor of a streaming service having absolute control, but I'm fully on board of having one venue that has all or most of what I want to watch, which was totally within Netflix's ability to do at some point in the past 4 years. But no. Either they have failed miserably in acquiring the rights, or as in most cases, they didn't even try to. Which to me is the strangest part. I mean, to have all of this ground and power and not even try to capitalize on it, I can't think of a good reason why. Because at this time, Netflix was worth 150 billion or more, and it's pulling about 15 to 20 billion yearly revenue. An amount which could be used to provide more content and pull in more users. However, that didn't happen. Now, I know by now I sound all negative and bitter, but honestly I'm not. I use the service and these are 4 main points which really bother me about it. I hope Netflix can change what it can. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, or follow us for more.